Hi everyone! How are you? Happy 2016! So I know I'm a little bit late, but I hope that you have had a wonderful start to your new year and that your first 2 weeks have been awesome and you've been able to accomplish everything you've wanted to so far, stitching related or not. Before I go any further, my dogs are here with me. They usually are when I'm recording, so if you hear like chewing or playing noises, just don't mind it too much. If it gets kind of crazy, I'll usually just pause and re-record. Or, well, not re-record, start recording again. So, in this video, I'm going to talk about a small wrap-up for December. I did make a video halfway through that month, so I don't have too much to talk about, but a little bit. I'm going to talk about some new starts that I've had in January, some progress that I've made, some plans that I have, and I have some purchases to share with you. Some of the stuff I have is actually gifts from Christmas time, but I do have some purchases which I don't think I've shared. Yeah, so I'm excited. This is probably going to be pretty long, so grab some stitching and have fun while you watch. So wrapping up December, I have one big fully finished object and it's given away, so I don't have it with me, but I do have a small video that I recorded right when I finished it and a picture of it fully finished. So this is the stocking that I was working on. I believe in my last video I talked about how I finished all the cross stitching, and I'm fairly certain I really should have watched that video before recording, but I didn't. Anyway, so yeah, I believe I showed the cross stitching, and after that I finished all the French knots, the back stitching. There was a lot of half stitches in the background and the name up top, which was cross stitches and back stitches. So yeah, so I was really excited to finish that. This is going to be a little bit of a story, so just bear with me, but I think it's important. So Christmas stockings were never really a thing in my family. Like I'd heard about them, I saw them in movies and stuff, but they just weren't a thing. I wasn't really introduced to them till I went to my boyfriend's, now husband's, family party, and they all had stockings, and they all had their own personalized stocking. And because they do part of their Christmas tradition in the Christmas party is to have everybody bring in something to put in the stockings, and at one point all the women take all the stockings to somewhere in the house where the party is being held, and they stuff all the stockings, and then we go and pass them all around, and everybody pulls out all their stuff and laughs and giggles and all that fun stuff. So for a while I was loaned just a store-bought stocking, and they all had their own that was made by the eldest aunt in the family, and she makes one every time somebody's born or when somebody gets married. She makes them and the spouse a matching pair. Originally it was the felt applique stuff, but for a while now it's been the cross stitch ones. We received some, and although I wasn't cross stitching at the time, I cross stitched before in high school, so I was like, oh my god, this is awesome, I love it, I love it. And when I started cross stitching, everybody's like, oh, you could help, blah blah blah. So this year I did stitch one of the stockings. She stitched the other one, which she's incredible. I mean, she made, I know one year there was, I think, 2 weddings and a birth. That's 6 stockings right there, and 4 of those, there were 2 matching pairs. To have to stitch 2 matching stockings, that's just crazy. I don't know if I could do that, but she did, so I helped her, and I was so excited to be part of the tradition and get it done. So I'll include that video here, and also a picture at the end of it FFO'd, which I actually did not do. It was FFO'd by my mother-in-law because I neither own a sewing machine nor have the skills to use one, so I'm so glad that she was able to do that. So I'm gonna insert that here. Hey you guys, just wanted to show you my stocking. My first ever stocking is done. I say done that way just because I didn't put the name yet. I'm gonna, by the time I upload this video, it will be done, but just for privacy reasons. But there it is. This is Santa's Sidecar by Dimensions. I just finished it right before picking up the camera. Here's some detail. Sorry for the shadow there, but I had fun. I enjoyed it. It's a little challenging in it not being full coverage because sometimes it's hard. Even I did grit this, I already removed the gritting, but it was sometimes hard to count. I know there's some mistakes in counting, but overall it looks good. So yeah, I'm really happy with these French knots here. It's like the snow being kicked up by the wheels. They came out rather nice. This snow down here and up here, this red, is all half stitches with 5 strands, and it was a pain. It's hard on the fingers. Half stitches are not that bad, but with 5 strands it's a little difficult. So I'm glad that's done. And yeah, so here it is. My first stocking finish. Alright, so that was my fully finished object, well, my large fully finished object for December, and it pretty much took all my time. I actually started stitching it in August, worked on it for about 6 weekends, and then my master's class started, so I stitched on it here and there, but I really put the time into it at the mid-end of November when my class ended all the way through December 19th, which is when I finished it. So I'm really glad I was able to get that done. This year I'm planning on stitching 2 stockings, and I started now, at least with one of them I've started now, because I want to have more than enough time. I want to stitch my parents' stockings, and it was kind of hard to pick one because they have I think they would have very different tastes, but since the tradition is for them to be matching, I found one that I think they're both gonna like. So I'm stitching one, and my mother-in-law's actually offered to stitch the other one. I'd asked her about FFOing them, but she's like, well, I'll stitch one. So she's gonna stitch it. She hasn't cross-stitched in a while though, so I let her know if at any time you feel like you don't want to finish it, just let me know, I'll get it done. No worries, but I'm starting now. And the other one is for my sister-in-law, who had one of the felt applique stockings, and it's just falling apart. The poor thing is just, those, according to my aunt, our aunt, that's why she switched to cross stitch stockings, is because the felt appliques don't seem to hold up quite as well. But they do take a lot longer to make to cross stitch, but whatever. So we're gonna make her one. I'm actually gonna stitch half, and my mother-in-law's gonna stitch the other half, so like we both take part in it, and she's gonna FFO it. So gotta start on that one at some point as well. But yeah, so that was my stocking experience. The other FFO I have, and this was actually an FFO of December, is an ornament. This is on 14 count plastic canvas, and it is called I think it's just called Tree by Needle Magic Ink. And they actually have a lot of these, and it's funny, all the names are very simple. It's like Tree, Angel, Snowman, just very straightforward names. So it comes, you get a square of plastic canvas. I stitches, this is actually with yarn, so yeah, I don't have to separate or anything, it's just ready to go. And lots of black back stitching on all these ornaments. And then I attach, it comes with a string, but it's super thick, like I just couldn't work with it. So this is just pearl cotton, metallic pearl cotton. So yeah, so that was my FFO for December. It actually had a ribbon, a red ribbon with a year on it, but it just looked too clunky, so I left it off. But that's that one. I actually have another one to show you, which I finished way before, but my plan was to, sorry, itchy nose. My plan was to show these in December, and I never got around to making another video in December. But this one is called Moon Santa, and I love this one. This is so beautiful, so gorgeous. Love it. And I got the same pearl cotton. I just have a huge skein of it, so I'm going to use it for all of these. I plan on making all of these. I don't know how many there are. This company's out of business, but I find them all the time on eBay, so whenever I see a few pop up, I'll buy some. I have maybe like 10 or so of them. But yeah, so that one is Moon Santa. And this one, I mostly worked on it in December, but I didn't actually finish it till this year, till January. So it's technically my first finish of 2016. This one's Angel. So all the same type, all on 14 count, which, is there anything but 14 count plastic canvas? And I don't mean like the giant plastic canvas that like is in the like kids section of the craft store, but like cross-stitching plastic canvas. I don't know, I've never seen anything but 14 count, so I wonder if there even is anything else. But yeah, that's Angel. So I've got 3 of these done so far. Woohoo! Hopefully I'll get all of the ones I have done by Christmas. They also have mini ornaments, and these are just on, I think it looks like 18 count Ada, and they come in pairs. So this is Ho 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 and a little stocking. So that's maroon 18 count Ada, and I use the same pearl cotton. And there's the ho ho ho. So very cute. These are about slightly bigger than a quarter, so they're really, really small. Like the quarter would fit right into the heart piece, and these little top bits would be left over. Very small. So that was basically it. Nothing huge in December. The other thing that I worked on that I started in December and I'm going to be working on all year, and it is my first SAL, like monthly SAL, and I'm so excited. It's the Magical Creatures calendar. This was the Mystery SAL by Clouds Factory, I think 2 years ago. Because I know last year was the Zodiac sampler, so I'm pretty sure this was 2 years ago. And I like the idea, and I'm really excited to get to stitch it in SAL form, because I don't know about the whole Mystery SAL thing. I've seen the pumpkin passport, I've seen the postcards and the start of it, and it looks awesome, and I'm like, I want to stitch it, but at the same time, I kind of like knowing what it's going to look like, or at least more than 50% of it. So maybe I'll jump on one of those or both of those halfway through the year, but for now, I'm just going to stick with this one. And this is actually being done as a SAL on the Facebook group. 2016 Magical Creatures calendar was set up by Adele. She's awesome. You should go find her videos. If you're interested in stitching this, you should. And I'm really excited about this piece because it's like my first go crazy, not follow the pattern piece. So this is the piece. I haven't actually cut the fabric yet because I haven't finished the border, and I am super paranoid about cutting fabric if I'm not sure how big. I mean, I know you can measure it, and I'd probably measure like 7 times before cutting, but I'm still really paranoid about it. So I'm probably just gonna cut it after I finish the border. I got the border for the first 5 months done, and sometime, probably around March, just so I give myself a couple months to do it, I'll start stitching the rest of it because I want to have the borders done before I get to that month. So I've done half of the border. This is in 32 count Lugana and Mystic by Silk Weavers. And there's January. First I'll show you the border. The border is done in Pride Cotton by Mo's Sale. And I definitely ran out, but it actually worked out. I have like a tiny piece left, but I was getting kind of ready to move on. So it's kind of good because I ran out around the corner. I only have a tiny piece, so I just have a few stitches. So I bought more, and it's ready to go. So that's it there, and it'll probably go to about there. So I'll have all of that left over. But yeah, so I'm excited. Other than the border, I really switched up this block. I made the center purple instead of brown. I used mauve Mo's silk. I used the DMC variegated for the hair. This is Mo's cotton and Toulouse. And some other DMC variegated. It's a pink and purple variegation for the flowers, and a green aqua teal sort of purple green aqua teal variegation of DMC for the leaves. Instead of glow in the dark, I used Kreinik braid number 4 032. I did January in a different font that was posted by one of the girls participating. I modified it a little bit. It had more, like it had cross stitches on both sides, so like this part of the J would be cross stitch, and like the A, this part and this leg would be cross stitch. But I just did back stitch because I don't know, like I don't know if I like didn't do it right, but I think it would look too big, so I did like that. I did that in that horrible Light Effects DMC, but I really like the color, and I have them, so I gotta use them up on something. Yeah, the only color that's actually the color that was charted on here, the only one on this whole block is the brown of the trees, so I kind of went a little bit crazy. Oh, and to add to that craziness, I did the skin 1/1. Just because I really wanted to try it, and I hadn't gone to any of the other projects that I'm doing it in. So I did it on this one. And it was cool, but I can definitely see how it's definitely tedious. So yeah, that's going to be, I'm glad not every block has any human or part human characters, because yeah. But yeah, so I'm excited, and I really love this fabric. So there we go. So that's my first monthly stitch along. I'm really excited to participate in it and be able to do it, like I said, in a month, 2 month fashion. So yeah, so this video might very well be an hour. I don't know how far into it we are. Do I have a time on here? It does not tell me how long I've been recording. I'll look now. It's 3:06. So yeah, we'll see how long this takes. So that is that. The other thing I worked on in December was my first kiss. This was my Crazy 7 start from the August Crazy 7. And this is a cross-stitch kit from China, so I don't have the picture because the picture is literally the pattern because it's a color pattern. But this is what it looks like here. And it's going to be just that big, so it's pretty small. This was originally on 11 count Aida, and that was actually, it had the ink like it was printed on, but I didn't want to use the 11 count Aida. Not so much the printed I didn't like, I just didn't want to use 11 count Aida. When I saw the picture, because I originally just saw the picture of this, I wanted to do it on a smaller count already. So this is actually a 28 count even weave. This is the MCG textiles that you can pick up at like Hobby Lobby or Michael's. It's not the best, I've mentioned this before. I've used that even weave before in mushroom, and it was much nicer than this off-white, I forget what it's called. I think it's off-white? Antique white, the antique white. I don't know what happened, or if they just don't have a great quality control, or if something about the dye for the mushroom makes it nicer. But even though I knew it was cheap, and I know a lot of people didn't like it, I'm like, it's affordable, it's there, it's easily accessible, so I bought it and been so pleased with the mushroom. I went for this and it's not that good, but it'll get the job done. So last time you saw it, I'll try to insert a picture, but I don't think I have it. I just had like this little bit of her hat done in one color, so I've added all of the hat, and this is her hair starting to trail down. So I'm excited to have that progress done. So yeah, don't mind my stuffy nose, by the way. I've had this cold that lasted forever, and then before I got over it, I had a lingering cough. I started getting cold symptoms again, so I'm really annoyed about that, but what can I do? Alright, so that wraps up, I'm looking around, I'm making sure, that wraps up December. So, moving on. Okay, so moving on to January of this year. So before I talk about anything, I thought I need to get myself organized. So I thought about getting a planner, but I wanted to have more space to like write in and play around with. So I just decided to buy a notebook, and I happened to see one at Joann's. It was on sale. It was like on the way out. It was like a few dollars. I think it was like $3.50. It was less than $5, and they had a few different designs. I think they still have them, so if they go back on sale, I might pick up another one just because they're really nice notebooks. And this is by Buttercream Luxcraft, and it's just this cute little book. And I like the saying, life is better when you're laughing, so I picked that up, and it's pretty blues, greens. Yeah, I like it. So in each page, I'm just going to write the month and what I want to do that year, what I'm starting, if I'm starting anything, and then on the back, what I'm kind of working on and anything I finished. This is kind of loose. I don't plan on having a rotation per se, but I want to pick a few projects that I'd like to work on that month, and actually write them down so I can look at it and say, oh, I thought about working. And if I really don't want to work on something, I'm not going to do it. I don't want to force myself into a rotation. I don't think I'm at that point yet, but I want to have some sense of organization because I don't want to leave some projects forgotten for years and years and years or something. So January was a start heavy month. I didn't do year of starts. I didn't do crazy January and crazy February starts, but I did do the crazy 7, which I know Cross Stitch and Discuss, they want to do it, I think 3 times a year. So I might not do the next one because it might fall right before Stitch Mania, so I don't want to do Crazy 7 and then Stitch Mania. If they happen to both be in May, then I can kind of, like the first 7 projects can be Crazy 7 and Stitch Mania. And I'm so sorry, I have an itchy nose. I have the Jessie symptom. Every time she's like, every time I go do a video, I have a itchy nose. Well, it happens, right? It just happens. So yeah, so on the 1st, I started my New Year, New Start, which was through Stitch Mania / Cross Stitch and Discuss, and I did Mirabilia. So I actually did a Nora Corbett and I started Gwen, which I could say was her latest Bewitching Pixie if I'd done this video when I planned to last week, but now she's released a couple more, which I love. They're Raven and Minerva. Love them. And I think I'm going to stitch, not all, I don't quite love all the Bewitching Pixies, but I love most. Now, maybe when I get to it's two of them that I didn't quite like, but since I'm a very set sort of person, I might stitch them. But yeah, I do want to stitch the companion to this one, Electra, Minerva, Gwen, Gigi, Luna, and there's another one. There's like a red one. I like her. Anyway, let me show you what I got. So that's all I've got. I actually just did this on the day I started her on January 1st, and that's all I've got. And this is on Ash Rose 32 count Lugana by Zweigart, I believe. I didn't really like the brown background. I thought it was kind of meh. And I didn't want to do linen. I know I've tried, I think, the Witchell linen, and I didn't like it quite that much. I know there are other linens, and people have said you got to kind of play around with it. I just need to buy some scrap pieces and try them before I commit on a larger project like this. So just worked on the black. We'll get back to her some point this month, at least a day or two. And yeah, I'd like to have her completed well before May, because I want to start Raven Queen during Stitch Mania, and I want this done and out of the way, and possibly start another Bewitching Pixie before then. Maybe one of her newer ones. I really want to do Minerva really bad. So yeah, that was January 1st. So I've got a whole heap of stuff here, so I'm trying to find the best place to put this. I'll put this right back here. Pardon my stretch there. So that day also started the Needle Magic ink. That's the one I'm doing. The Ornaments Sal. Sorry about that pause there, you guys, but like I said, I'm still kind of recovering / going into another cold. So I was kind of coughing. Sorry, my camera said something weird. So that day was also the year-long Ornament Sal. By the way, a lot of the cross stitch and discuss sals are year-long. I'll mention which ones those are. The Mirabilia one is a year-long. It won't take me that long because I picked a small piece. The Ornament is also year-long. Started on January 1st, and it's just to get as many done as possible. I started my 4th Needle Magic ink kit. This one is Gingerbread House. This was actually the second kit I ever stitched when I stitched back in high school, and I wanted to recreate it just because I did eventually find that old one. It's downstairs. At one point I'm gonna have to show you that. I told you I'd show it to you at Christmas time, and I didn't get around to it, but I must have messed up or something, because the colors were all, not all, but some of the colors were not the ones that were, and I didn't really like how it looked. So anyway, I started again, and I just got a little bit of this done. And again, because I've had so many starts, I haven't gotten back to this, but I will get back to this one and get it stitched up, and hopefully get all the kits that I want to get stitched up this year stitched up. So that was that start. And I've got my handy dandy notebook. So see, like I've written on January 2016, I want to get the work on the January block. I've got the dates and the sal, so it's away. And then my Crazy 7 back here on the back. I've written stuff that working on, finished. Yeah, for the finish, it's items that either I do happen to finish, I'll just write it in, or ones that I'm like, this I can get done, I'm gonna write it down. And I probably pick only 1 or 2, especially if they're big, maybe just 1. But yeah, so anyway, that's why I keep looking down, because I've got myself organized. So alright, that was the first. On the second, I started Quiet Fire by Busilla. This is a part of a sal. This was just a Crazy 7 start. So this is what it's going to look like. This is a Busilla heirloom kit. And I'm sorry for the reflection here. But this is, I don't know, it comes out of the package real weird, so I don't want to. But yeah, tigers. This is a piece I want to do for my dad. I picked 2 pieces, both by Busilla heirloom. One for my mom, one for my dad. I'm starting one now. I'm going to work on it till May. I'm going to start my mom's during Stitch Mania. I picked my mom's second because the background isn't fully stitched. This one is. It is still has a lot of stitches, but this has more because of the background. This is on a mushroom even weave that came with the, it doesn't say what type of even weave, but I feel, I don't know what it is. I wanted to say Monaco, but that's not true, and I've only used Monaco once, so I'm not really sure. So it's gonna be big, but that's okay. I've gridded half of it. I usually get really annoyed with gridding. I didn't grid my Nora Corbett because of that, because I knew I was going to be gridding a lot of these projects. In fact, I started gridding, pre-gridding to be ready for the sales, and I was just done with gridding. And some projects I can kind of not grid and be okay. This one I wanted to grid, so I have to get gridding the other half maybe when I get a third of this done. So I just started with some of the background. You can kind of see where the first palm frond is going to go in. Those lines are going to be filled in with green. So I'm excited. So that's this top corner here. And that's what I'm talking about. Like the black is, I stitched the black around this palm frond. And then, yeah. So that was it. I've got to get back to that. I hadn't written down that I was going to work on it this month. But I knew I wasn't going to get a lot of progress on stuff this month. Just because I had so many starts going. I'm not a whole, like, I don't want to do a whole bunch of things. I mean, Katie the Stash Queen and Kate the Queen of Starts and people doing the whole year of starts are incredible, but I couldn't do that. So yeah, so that was quite fire, and I'll probably get back to that one next month. So yeah, so I want to get that, I want to get a good bit of it done before Mania starts. I know I'm going to be working on both my mom's and my dad's at the same time. My goal is to have them done for Christmas and framed for Christmas presents, but we'll see. I mean, if I don't get them done, they'll just get it later. I'm not going to overstress myself, but I think I can work it so that I can. So that was on the 2nd. On the 3rd, I started Northern Snowman by Jim Shore, and a lot of my starts were small, but like I mentioned, I'm a sets type of person, so a lot of these belong, like, have more involved, and I want to do more. So this is one of those perforated paper projects. This is what it's going to look like. This is a Jim Shore Mill Hill collab. I mean, I guess Jim Shore designs it and Mill Hill puts it together. I'm not really sure how that works, but that's what it looks like so far. You can see me through it. Hi. But yeah, I just got the red of his scarf done, and there are 4 of these. Northern, Southern, Western, and Eastern. And I want to get all 4 of those done by Christmas. I'd like to get them framed like this, but so like with the red mat board, and sorry, my needle just fell out of the package. So with the red mat board, and I want to put them like 1, 2, 3, 4, and with like a navy frame. So I'm excited to do that. So yeah, so that's Northern Snowman, and I will put that together later because that's super crinkly. And the next day I started from the Celtic Santa Mill Hill collection. This is Whale Santa. And I got that much of him done. So the middle of his body there. And this is also part of a set, but not only is he part of the Celtic Santa sets, Mill Hill has a huge range of Santas. I'm like, oh, maybe I can stitch them all and do like Santas around the world. There's like 40 something Santas. So we'll see how that goes. I have 3 of them at the moment, and neither of them are from the same collection. So we'll see. I would probably eventually like to stitch them all, but having a wall of Santas around the world, that might take up a lot of space. Sounded like a great idea until I figured out there were 46 different Santas. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm going to make them into ornaments and have like a second Christmas tree or something that's just Santas. I don't know. I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know. But I would like to stitch more Santas. I'll start with the 3 I have and go from there. So that was day 4. That was not a stitch along, just a start. On day 5, I decided to start Believe, which is by Joan Elliott, but this is the Design Works Kits version of it. And that's what it's gonna look like when it's done. Made 2 simple changes. Instead of 14 count 8, I'm doing it on 16 count just to make it a tiny bit smaller. And I'm going to switch out the beads. The beads are green. I'm going to switch them out to purple beads just because I do have 6 of the 8 words. She's got believe, imagine, dream, love, faith. I'm missing one. Hope. And then family and friends. So yeah. That's how far I got. You can see that, right? Yes. And that's the curve of the L up there. So yeah, so anyway, because I want to frame these together whenever I get them done. So like I said, the snowman, I definitely am going to stitch all 4. These I'm going to definitely stitch all 8. I have 6 of the 8. Family and friends are kind of hard to find. So I have to, like, they're not on the usual websites I use. So I'm going to have to look for them. And they're also, most of them are in these colors. Like cool colors. Family and friends are in warm colors with like a not such a tealy green, but a much brighter like lemony green, red, orange, and yellow. So I'm thinking of framing them like in a collage frame with like family and friends up like above and below, and then on the sides like 3, I don't know, I'll have to decide it, but somehow scattered in the middle will be the other ones. So because there was already another green bead very similar to this one, but a slightly different finish of bead, but still 2 greens, so I wanted to switch it up. So I'm going to do purple beads. Other than that, I'm going to leave everything else the same. So that was day 5. And again, no stitch along that day. Day 6 was a stitch along. This is a year-long stitch along through Cross Stitch and Discuss. And they did do a lot of year-long stitch alongs that started in January because there's a big event called the SSR Start and Stash Restraint event, which I'm not participating in because I'm still kind of a new stitcher. So I don't want to like tell myself, no, I'm not going to be able to have any starts or any buying going on for 6 months. I'm not at that point yet. Maybe in a year or 2 I will be, but I don't buy a lot of stuff anymore. I did when I first like started. I got super excited about it. But yeah, so this is a Dimensions kit called Victorian Charm. It's quite long but fairly thin, and it actually looks like it's going to stitch up fairly easily. So yeah, love it. So excited. So it was my day 6 start, but it was also a year-long stitch along. So yeah, they're doing a lot of year-long that started before the 15th because of this 6-month event, so people could get stuff started. I didn't start, participating in every single thing, but yeah. So that's the fabric, 18 count navy Aida. A little bit hard to work with. That's okay. Again, only gridded halfway. The reason I do half of it and not just the first few rows is because I usually start my gridding right in the middle. So again, I had so much gridding to do to prepare for all these starts that I was like done. Anything really big, I only did half of it, and I'll do the other half at some point. So I only got a little bit done. And I'll get back to this, but it's stitched up fairly fast I know that's like nothing, but I feel like it's gonna stitch up fairly fast. So I'm really excited. And that was just the very top of this roof here. So I need to get back to that at some point. But again, I gotta get myself even more organized and figure out exactly what I'm gonna be doing, what I'm gonna be working on. I still like a smaller projects, so I can't let like seeing those getting close to being finished keep me from working on the bigger stuff. But yeah, so that was day 6 and a year-long stitch along. Day 7, butterfly vignette, Gold Collections Petites. I love my butterflies. I've expanded my horizons a lot more, but I do have a lot of butterfly stuff that I need to stitch up. So this is also on 18 count Aida, but it is ivory. This I did just grid the whole thing because it was really fast and easy to grid. So it's going to be that big. It's not quite 5 by 7. It's 8 by 4. So I got 2 of the top corner colors done, and that's this corner here. So this bud is going to be the first small butterfly. So I'm excited about that one. So those were my crazy 7 starts. But that's not all. I'll have a lot more, but a couple things more. that as far as start, which is why I don't have a lot of progress on really anything, because I concentrated on starting. I won't be doing a lot of these starts until Mania, so I might start something here or there, but most likely I won't be. Alright, so some of the stitch alongs that happened after the Crazy 7, which really weren't all that many. On the 10th, we had the Heaven and Earth, which originally was the 13th, and at some point they must have changed the date, and I'm glad I saw people mentioning they were getting ready for it, because I had it marked as the 13th, and I had to cross it out and put the 10th, and it's Heaven and Earth. I'm doing a mini, which was Unleash the Butterflies. I started that one last year, and I haven't worked that much more on it. It is back there on my floor stand, so I shot a little video to show you the tiny bit of progress that I made, but there it is. So here's that. So that's my progress there. It's not a lot. If I zoom you in, I filled in right here. This was blank, and I filled in a little bit here, but that's it for the Heaven and Earth. I need to get more stitches in little by little, but I'm getting there. It'll get done one day. And I also transferred it to an 11 by 17. So I'm pretty certain this way I'll be able to get all the length, because this is the end of page 1 here. It's only like another 3 pages across, 3 or 4 pages across. So 1, 2, 3, and I think like half. So I think that at least across it'll fit. So I'm really excited about that. But yeah, so that's the progress on Heaven and Earth, Mini Unleash the Butterflies by Cindy Nielsen. Okay, so that was on the 10th. On the 12th, we started the Christmas stocking sale, which I knew I was going to participate in because I mentioned I want to stitch 2 stockings, so pardon while I reach for it. This is the one I'm stitching for my parents. I'm working, probably I'll make this one for my mom, and the one my mother-in-law stitches is for my dad, and mainly it's because I had to modify because the name's not going to fit, so I had to modify, and I didn't want her to have to do any modifications. But this is the stocking I picked for them. My dad loves birds, so I picked that one, and then I think my mom will like it because they're ornaments on a tree, and she loves decorating her home, not just for Christmas, but in general. So this is a very nice decorative piece, it's decorations on a nice tree, and I just think it looks nice. So yeah, so not a lot done, but I definitely need to get this back soon. And you notice I have a lot of Q snaps because I don't like removing stuff from my frames. So I have a few. I have 3 11 by 11s, and this is a combination of 11 by 8 / and 4-inch extender. Yeah. And then I have a 11 by 8 and an 8 by 8. I think that's it. But yeah, I don't like removing stuff from frames, so I have a lot, and I have to keep myself from buying another one. Because recently I tried the real Q-Snap, and I definitely like it more than the knockoff version, even though they work alright. But they're real cheap for me because I have a Michael's on the way home, and I have a Joann's that's so close to me. Actually, Joann's doesn't sell that, so that doesn't really count. But I have Michael's, and then on the other side of the street is Hobby Lobby. I live in a very centralized area, if you haven't watched my other videos. So if they have a good coupon day, like a 55 or 60%, which happen often enough that it's interesting, I can go and get something for $6. So it's really cheap for me to get Q-Snaps, at least the fake knockoff Q-Snaps. But yeah, I don't need that many. I just need to get better at removing stuff from them. But yeah, so a lot of this stuff is still on Q-Snap. So I just started the corner there. It's going to stitch up fairly fast, that top part, because it's only 1 strand half stitches. But I just have a lot going on, like I mentioned. So that's what I started. But that's the stocking so far. And I need to get back to that so I don't get too far behind on that. Yeah. Where are we? 3:30. My goodness. So it's definitely been at least 30 something minutes. So let's keep moving faster. So that was on the 12th. On the 10th I mentioned the Haid. The 12th was the Christmas stocking. on January 14th, because it was the day before the Start and Stash Restraint, they had 3 things going on. The Disney Dream sale, the Harry Potter sale, and a 1-month Valentine's Day sale. So I started, well, I didn't start. I started 2 things and I picked up 1 other thing. So the first thing I started was for the Valentine's Day sale, and this is actually not going to be this long. It'll probably be something like this big. This is on like a baby pink Ada, so it's really cute, and it was finished like that. Like, it's interesting, but it does keep it from fraying, so interesting that they delivered. And this is, I think, a DMC one. I had to get it on Amazon. That's the start of a rose. This is going to be a heart made of roses, and I don't have a picture to show you, I'm so sorry, but it's a heart made of roses that are like here, here, and like scattered throughout. So that's using a DMC variegated color. So I started that. I have a month to stitch it. Should be more than fine. That was the first thing I started. The second thing I started was kind of like a last minute start. So one of the exciting things I did for the very first time, I did my own pattern for something. It was for the Harry Potter sale. I wanted to do all the book titles inspired by the shirt that just has the Stone, Chamber, Prisoner, Goblet, Order, Prince, and Hallows, but they're all in the same font, and I really didn't want that. I wanted them to each be unique. So I didn't quite use free fonts. I searched fonts, and I like got ideas and sort of made up and modified them. So they might be similar to some fonts that you might have seen, but I did modify them. So I created this pattern, and I'm gonna stitch it. Hallows, this is the second font I tried. The first one went out to like here. It was so much bigger than the other titles. This one, when I finally tried, I thought I'd be able to like make the letters really close together, but then all of these fit within 70 to 80 inches, and this one was like 90 something. It was just too noticeable, so I actually changed the font. So this Hallows, I'm actually going to fold over because that's not what it looks like anymore. And I was really touched when I posted this. I mean, I did come up, even though I used inspiration, I did come up with the pattern myself, and I modified the letters to be the sizes I wanted. So it's my own, and people really liked it, and they said they would be interested in even purchasing it. So I've been working on it to make it the same distance all the way across, and I might eventually maybe open up an Etsy and put it on there. I don't know, I just thought that was really cool, and hey, it's fun. I mean, if I make a few dollars from it, great, but it's more like for fun, and hey, I can maybe get somebody to get more stitching going. So, you know, it's not gonna be a business that I'm gonna live off of or anything, but I just thought that was, I was really touched that people liked it enough that they wanted to buy it. And I also thought it'd be really cool if people actually did buy it. So each title is in a different font that sort of follows like Stone. It's very like, I can't think of the word. It's very firm, so like the font is just like a traditional sort of Times New Roman-y font. Chamber is a little interesting because the chamber is so old and it's this legend. And then Prisoner is kind of like, I don't know, I like it. I don't know why, but it reminded me of that one. Goblet, it just, the Tri-Wizard tournament and everything going on, and it was so fancy, and the Quidditch World Cup happened that year, so I like that. And it made me think of like a goblet, like all the fanciness. Order, the title in the original cover, the original US cover, it's like really wispy, and the order is really formal, so that's why I made it like that. Prince, something royal looking, and then Hallows, I'll have to show you the one I picked because that one didn't work out. So I was gonna start this, but we got the tragic news that Alan Rickman died, and I know he did so much more than Snape, and he's beyond what he has. So many great characters. Hans in Die Hard, he's Colonel Brandon in Sense and Sensibility, which is the first time I saw him was in that, and I loved. He was our depressed robot Martian in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He Galaxy Quest. I mean, oh gosh, I want to say Megatron, but I think it's Metatron. In Dogma. Actually, no, I think Dogma was the first time I saw him. Of course, he was Snape. But because it was the Harry Potter stitch-along, and because it is one of his most known roles, I mean, we can't deny that it is one of his most well-known roles, I decided to stitch Always. So I started this on the 14th. I finished it 3 days later. And I saw this pattern on Etsy, and I knew I had to stitch it because it's a reminder that we'll always remember Alan Rickman for his career and of course for his portrayal of Snape. And originally this was on like cremata in like black, but I like this because it looks like the Patronus itself. And this is Mo's Silk in Massachusetts. It's like, I know that lighting is terrible. Photographing this, it just looks like silver or white. And you can't really tell as much. I think you can tell better on camera, but still it's not great. It's a combination of like a purpley silver and a blue silver. So it goes back and forth. The doe I decided to do in just the purpley silver because I thought it would look weird with the variegation. So I had to cut the threads just right. But yeah, so that's that. So that was my first Harry Potter stitch along piece, and then I will now move to my book titles, which I also planned on stitching on Black Ada, and each title is going to be a different color, similar to the cover of the book, the original US hardcover of the book. So that was that. The last Sal, finally, like what, 40 minutes later? I don't even know. I did pause though, so you know, because coughing and such. The last Sal, I picked up My Little Mermaid by MCU Textiles, Disney Dreams again. If you are not familiar with this piece, that's what it looks like. And this was definitely less than 15% done. By the way, this is a great size, 11 by 8. Love it. I picked it up, I added some purple and blue around here, and I started adding this, finally some other color besides like Stormy Sky color, showing up some blended purple and yellow. So a little bit there, and all this main like dusty purple here, 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 all that I added since that Sal. You guys, I love this piece. I can't believe I waited so long to pick it up. I started this sometime, I think in May last year. I'm not sure if it was March or May. I know it was one of those two. And I liked it, and then I started stitching other things, and I really enjoy working on this, and I know, and this isn't even my favorite Disney Dreams. I picked The Little Mermaid because I love The Little Mermaid, and when I first, you know, heard like Disney and cross-stitching, whatever, I knew I wanted to do Little Mermaid. But as far as the kit and the image itself, it's not even the most appealing one to me. So if I'm loving this much, I'm really gonna enjoy some of the other ones, and one day, I will stitch all of them. One day. But yeah, I have two others. I have the Cinderella one, which I actually got because it was just a really good deal on eBay. But the other one that I have is Bambi. I really like the way that one looks. I like the Lady and the Tramp one, the Snow White, and the Sleeping Beauty one. All of them are really nice, but those were the ones that visually appeal to me the most. So I'll probably stitch Bambi next. And I actually might not stitch Cinderella next because that's not my favorite appealing. My favorite ones, like I said, are Lady and the Tramp, Bambi, Snow White, and Sleeping Beauty. So I guess I might do one and the other. I'm not sure if I'll finish this before I start another one, but I want to at least finish maybe half before I start another one, because if not, they're never going to get done. So that was my last Sal for January, and everything that I started and everything that I worked on. So my goodness, that was a lot. Now all the months are not going to be this crazy. I am going to be working on other things these few months, and I won't really be starting much until Stitch Mania. So that is the plan. If I start something, it'll probably be a smaller instead of a larger. Probably as I finish like these little perforated kits and stuff, I might start the next one. But I don't really plan on starting anything else that's big. I might start the other stocking that I want to work on just to have it ready and I can pick it up at any time. And that's it. I think I'm not really planning on starting anything else. As far as what I wanted to work on this month, I wanted to work on Always, my Heaven and Earth. Heaven and Earth is going to be every month working on. I mean, and by what I say by working on is put at least a few stitches. I don't mean like 2, but you know, I'm not like I have to get half a page done or anything like that. I just want to know that I've written it down and I can open this up and look at it and say I want to work on that, because that one's one that's not going to get done either if I don't work on it. This month I wanted to concentrate on the Valentine's sale because that's deadline is February 14th. Hopefully before that. Little Mermaid, Gwen, and the Harry Potters. So I finished Always and I want to start on my titles. And that's all I have written down. If I pick up something else, I pick up something else. But I want to have a few focus pieces that I can look at and say, I did work on this month. I got progress on this done. Will some of these carry over to next month? I don't know. We'll see when I get there. Like I said, I don't have a solid rotation. I must work on Gwen for a week or 7 hours or 12 hours. I just know that these 4 pieces I want to work on this month and see some progress done. So yeah, and it could be like 3 days on one day on the other, back to 3 days. Anyway, just at some point in the month, work on those. Yeah. The finish, like I mentioned, I definitely want to finish each month of the magical creature. So that's the first one I wrote down. I put Always and the date that I finished it. And then I put A Dog's Love, which I didn't show you. Oh my gosh, A Dog's Love. This is my oldest whip, you guys. This is one of the first things I bought when I decided I wanted to cross stitch again. And I just got it got pushed aside by everything else. But it's almost done. Look. In fact, I think all the cross stitching is done. I think I say that because I was measuring it out on a frame and it looks like it's gonna be just right on the top and bottom, but a little bit too short on the left and right, and I think that's just gonna look weird. So I can add a line of brown and a line of orange, just so if I need to do that, I'll have a little bit of cross stitching to do, and then it'll go right flush up to all the sides. But I'll have to see when I decide on the final frame. I don't want to add it and then it's gonna get covered up. So yeah, I did change the font of Love. I wanted to look more cursive-y than the one that was there. And I have 2 dogs, so instead of one name, which was right in the middle, I scooched it over and I put Ellie, then a French knot to divide it, and then Sammy. So yeah, so I'm just working on the back stitching right now. I just have to back stitch these paws, back stitch the doghouse, and back stitch the leash, and I will be done. Again, there is some back stitching that goes around it, but the top and bottom one's already gonna be covered up unless the frame, I decide to get a different frame. And yeah, so obviously I put that one down as I'm going to finish it, and then I just add the date when I do finish it because I know that I can get it done. So January block, I have the date written down. I finished it on January 10th. Always, I finished it on January 16th. Oh, 14th, yeah, 3 days. And then A Dog's Love, when I finish it, I will add the date. So that's my little organizer book. And if I do keep up with just 1 page per month, this is going to last me a few years. So it'll be a nice collection of what I worked on and how things might have changed. I may need more than 1 page, depending. Like for Mania, no, that's not true because there won't be a ton of sales and Mania. So I'll be able to put the list down. So I'm excited about this tool. Okay. Last piece of the video, if you're interested, if you don't like to watch acquisitions, stash acquisitions, as some people say. I don't really like to say haul because I feel like haul is when you have a ton. I don't feel like I have a ton. So just acquisitions or stash acquisitions. If you don't care to watch, that's okay. Thank you so much for sticking around this long to hear me talk. I'll see you next month. Hopefully sooner, but yeah. And if not, ignore me saying bye, and you're welcome to watch. So I don't have too much. I tend not to get a lot, but I do have a few things because I got some stuff for Christmas. So my sister-in-law got me a few things, couple things. One kit I don't have, but I will try and show that next time. It's the blackboard type kit. It's black Ada with white floss only, and it's the coffee one, so it says like coffee latte. I'll have to show you that. I did get the Paco floss organizer, but again, I don't have it on me, and I really don't want to get up and disturb my dogs that are actually sleeping. But I got one of those for Christmas from my mother-in-law, so I'm really, really excited. Haven't used it yet, but I do have a project I want to use it on, which it's actually not even big enough because it's a 50, it can hold up to 50 colors, and that one uses 75. So I'll probably have to get another one, but at one point I'll get it. For now, I'm okay with that one. My sister-in-law got me this Make-A-Wish kit, and she was like, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize it said my first stitch on it. So after I got it, I'm like, I don't care, it's so cute, I love it. I might add some blending filament to make it a little bit shiny for the dandelions, but other than that, that's it. So I have that. I have my partner at work got me some stuff. She's really, really sweet, and she knew I liked it, and she actually has driven by the LNS that I go to, so she stopped in and got me some things. So sorry while I reach. She got me this little kit, and that's the store, by the way, cross stitch cover, and that's the tin. It's like a little tin that you, after you stitch on this blue linen, you'll just put it on here. So it's a little peace sign with a little dove, and very cute. So I'll have to get to stitching that at some point and maybe keep it on my desk and keep some stitchy stuff in there. She got me a Jim Shore by Mill Hill kit. This one's Cozy Christmas Santa, which I wasn't even including the Jim Shore Santas in that like 40 something count of Mill Hills, just because they're slightly different, and they kind of make, I don't know, they don't look quite the same, I guess you could say. So yeah, so they're kind of like their own little thing, but yeah, but still another Santa. And she got me this Stoneware Cat pin pillow kit, so you make it into a little pillow, and it's like for push pins. Comes with the linen, the floss, and the trim, and it is Priscilla's Pocket. It's so cute. I love it. It'll be a quick stitch. We'll see when I get that done. Then myself, I bought 3 of the 6 Gold Collection Petite ornaments. There are 6 bird themed ornaments. This is, the first one is Holiday, and they're like little stamps. Then Noel greetings. This one have 2 words too. Oh, it says Holiday Wish, holiday up top, wish on the side. This one says Noel greetings, and this one says celebrate joy. There are 3 others, and I will eventually like to get them. Probably start at least one of them in Media, but yeah, that's it. So other than that, I have a couple fabrics, and then I'm done, finally. So I have 2 from Silk Weavers. This eBay seller, I have to link her down below. She's got tons of fabrics, good prices. I think I bought quite a few times from her. The Mystic for the magical creatures was from her. I got a second piece of Mystic because I kind of wanted to see if there would be more blue, but it's actually more purple than that one was, so I just stuck with that one. But that's okay, I'll use it for something. I got this 18 count Ada in Marshmallow, and I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do with it. I kind of had an idea, but I'm not sure if I like the fabric as much as I thought I would, but I'll certainly use it for something. And this is 13 by 17. What's that? Is that a fat eighth? I'm not sure. I'm used to fat quarters, not fat eighths. But I think it might be a fat eighth, because I think a fat quarter is like another one of these. So that would make sense. Yeah, so I think it's a fat eighth. I also got, this is 32 count Lugana Opalescent Solo. So I guess you don't get a name when it's a solo die? I know what that means is like they just came out, like that's the only one that came out that way. I'm not sure. Please tell me. But I thought it had a name. aside from just saying so. And this is an 11 by 26 piece, so long and thin piece, and it was just gorgeous, and it was real cheap. I don't remember, but it was really inexpensive, and I know I can't see it on my camera, but every time I do this it ends up showing up, so hopefully you can see the sparklies. It's mainly blue, but it's like a blue-white mix, and I love it, and it's beautiful. And I think I know what I'm going to stitch on this. I think I'm going to stitch the Clouds Factory Twilight People for somebody that I know likes it. I wouldn't stitch it for myself, not because I hated Twilight and I'm a Twilight hater or anything, but I didn't love it. I mean, it was like whatever. I don't think it was well written, and I didn't particularly find the story all that appealing for me. But I know she likes it, and it's cute, and this fabric's kind of perfect for the Cullens. I do know the story. I did read the books. I was interested to see what they were, but they just ended up not being my favorite. But I will probably stitch that for her. If for some reason I find out she already has it or something like that, then I'll have to find something else to stitch on it. But that's the idea. Last but not least, I got one more piece of fabric, and this was a great deal, and everything's now sliding. This was, I think, for $20-something. I got this giant piece. I mean giant. This is a half yard, people, of tan gold opalescent Zweigart Lugana. Did I say 28 count? 28 count, yeah, so 28 count. This is huge for 20, it was like $22. Let me just unfold this blanket. I can't even. This is huge. I can't, yeah, it still goes. It's huge. It's awesome. And I'll probably use something Christmassy on here. However, this reminds me of some of the fabric I've seen for the pumpkin passport. So if I haven't stitched anything yet on it, whenever I do decide I want to stitch that, because I have a feeling I am, I just, like I mentioned, I don't like mysteries like that, even though I can already tell it's cute, and I'm probably going to like it. I don't know. But I think it would look cute on this. So, yeah. Here it is. Fold it up. Tan gold, opalescent, 28 count, Lugana. So excited. I mean, that's the only trouble with eBay. Like, sometimes there's just that really great deal that you can't just pass up. Which isn't a bad thing, but sometimes you're like, I really don't need this. But I know I'll find something to stitch on it. So, my goodness, that wraps this up. I really hope you enjoyed my video. I hope it wasn't crazy, even though it probably was. If you have any comments or questions or anything at all, please leave them in the comments section, and I will respond to you whenever I get the chance to, which will hopefully be as soon as possible. I do try to respond quickly, and I've been pretty good about that. So, yeah. My goals don't really involve responding to people. My goal is at least one video a month, which I know I can do. Hopefully more, but at least one. So this is at least my one January 2016 video. Thank you for hanging out all this time with me. I hope you got some stitching done, or you just had a good laugh. Sorry again for any dog noises you might have heard, or for any stuffiness or coughing you might have heard. And I will see you next time. Have a great one. Bye!